Welcome, Tori Blake and Jeff Blake to Talks to Go. Tori, you've just come off a successful run on The Voice, and your dad had a stellar career in the NFL as a quarterback. Which of the two experiences do you think were more stressful?
Wow. For me, the voice, for sure. I am also an introvert extrovert. So being on a stage, especially in that setting, I moved out to LA. I've been doing the artist thing. I've been, doing my day job and, trying to do shows when I can. But going from that to the biggest stage ever, was very nerve-wracking, but I'm so glad that I did it.
Yeah, I'm curious, what made you decide to go for The Voice and not like American Idol or some other singing competition? What was it about The Voice that you
Yeah.
wanted to do?
You know what? Honestly, I never saw myself doing a singing show. I was just like, I'm gonna grind it out, do it the artist way. Is there a right way to do it the artist way? I have no idea. There are a lot of artists that go on these shows and it helps propel their career. And they had scouted me last year and just sent me an email saying, casting, they were saying we're interested in having you on the show. I kind of had a smoother auditioning process. It was very easy. I just sent in like three videos of me singing like three different songs. Um, and then I had an interview, and then they were like, "Hey, if we like you, you'll hear from us in March 2024." And I'm like, "Okay." So I kind of was just like, "You know what? I'm working right now. I'm still trying to figure out, things out here as an artist in LA, as a creative in LA. Let me just this came to me. Let me just flow with this." And I ended up jumping on. They emailed me, and I'm so glad I did it because American Idol, you see a lot of the stories, and sometimes they're good stories, and sometimes they don't paint you in a good light.
Mm.
And I think another reason why I was open to doing The Voice is because they really spin everybody's story in a positive way. And it also makes sense because working with the crew, like a lot of them have been on the show for years, or some have been on the show since the first season because they really love how the production is run. They feel like it's a really great environment, positive environment, which is very rare for a production, especially in LA. So I thought that was really interesting, and that also made my experience more positive as well.
Yeah.
Now, Snoop Dogg was your coach, correct?
Yes, he was.
Can you talk a little bit about your interaction with him?
Yes. So being on the show with Snoop, um, it was incredible. I'm so glad that he was my coach. It's so funny because if you watch my blind audition, they bring my dad up. And honestly, I knew that I was going to choose Snoop, but there was something about what Gwen said that kind of got me for a second. And I turned to my dad and I said, "Okay, dad, I'm feeling 50-50." And he goes, "We're going with Snoop." And I was like, "Okay, okay, thank you for bringing me back down." Um, but anyways, my experience with Snoop has been incredible. He really just brought out the confidence that I needed to showcase my artistry on stage, and just yeah, just his kind words, his swag, just like the love that he emits. It's truly incredible. And he really wanted to see us all win, which I really appreciated.
Mhm.
And he definitely took care of his team for sure.
Jeff, I'm curious, is there a particular reason why you wanted Snoop to be Tori's coach?
Well, initially Tori had told me that she wanted Snoop. And when she was on stage and she went 50-50, I was like, you got to go with your gut. Initially you pick Snoop, let's go with Snoop because usually your gut's always right,
Mm.
So I didn't want her, switching at the last minute and then after she was like, oh, I should have went with Snoop. So I mean, I know Tori, so that's exactly what she would have said. Oh, I know I picked, but I should have went with Snoop. I should have went with my first thought, my first gut pick. So I just kept her in pocket on that and said, look, hey, this is the one we talked about before we even came on the show. So let's stay with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go with your gut,
Yep,
always.
go with the gut.
Yep. So true.
like it. Jill mentioned, Jeff, that you had a very successful NFL career, 14 years in the league. And I think most people would think that the life of an NFL quarterback is a rather glamorous one. But one thing I don't think they ever take into consideration is the effect of that job, and it does become a job, correct? The effect of that job on your family life. So, in what ways did your career affect your relationship with Tori?
Um, it didn't really affect it that much, I don't think, because they were with me a lot.
Mm.
We were together a lot. I mean, um, the cities that I played and starred in, they were there with me. I wasn't like leaving and going away for 6 months and then coming back. So they were with me the whole time. So Tori grew up in the NFL. She did. Her and her brothers grew up in the NFL. They went to every home game. I remember in New Orleans, they was at the suite every game. They enjoyed that. They enjoyed coming to the games. We have pictures at the games, so I think, and then in the off season, we spent a lot of time together. In the off season, we went on cruises. We did a lot of stuff with our family. My family are big Disney people, so they love to go to Disney a lot when they were kids, and so we would do that stuff a lot, and we did a lot of family stuff during the off season. So I think we tried our best, and our family try to live a normal family life outside of football.
Yeah. And Tori, going to you on your end, what was it like being the daughter of an NFL player, hearing from your side of point of view?
Yeah, you know what? Growing up in it, I didn't really think much of it. I was just like, this is, my dad was drafted before I was born, so I was just kind of born into this life, and it's, we all my siblings, we played sports. I started gymnastics at 3, and I competed till I was 10. Was at the gym 8 hours a day. All of us were also homeschooled. That's what made it easy for us to move around with my dad. And it was so funny when my dad stopped playing and we moved to Austin. I was like, we're not moving anymore. I thought it was strange that we weren't going to be experiencing another city, making new friends. It was just so ingrained in our lives that I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
I
interesting.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned that. As a quick aside, my wife, Amy's mom,
Jill. Jill's mom.
Jill's mom, excuse me. Amy is Jill's mom. She has a business relationship with a woman whose husband is an assistant coach with the Jets. And, it looks like the writing is on the wall that, well, of course, the coach got fired. The GM has now gotten fired. And it is a very good chance that they're going to have to uproot themselves from this area and go on to somewhere else. How difficult is that, Jeff? I know you moved around a little bit. Do you accept
Wow.
that as part of the career? I mean, tell us, give us the inside scoop on that.
Well, they have a saying, you're either coaches, family or NFL players or NFL a player's family.
Mm.
And you have to understand that that comes with the job, but players and coaches, it just comes with the territory. And that, going in. I knew that in college. In the 4 years I was at East Carolina, I had two head coaches and three offensive coordinators
Hmm.
in the 4 years I was there. So we knew that was just part of it. And you hope to stay in one spot as long as you could,
Right.
by playing well and being, active in the community, and playing good football. And you hope to stay there as long as you can. So I was able to stay in Cincinnati for 5 years, which is a good long stint.
Yeah, for sure. If you were granted a do-over, is there anything, I mean, anything that you would change in regards to your relationship with Tori?
I wish we could have did more daddy daughter like dates and dances and that kind of stuff. But she was busy just as well as I was busy. Like she said, she was doing gymnastics. Then she started volleyball. So she did a lot of things. And being homeschooled, we wasn't privy to a lot of the dances and the things like that that was going on because because they were homeschooled. And but I like the fact that I was able to give her support, love and support for everything that she did. Because she knew if she had an event in Austin and I was there, she knew her dad was going to be there. If nobody else was there, her dad was going to be there.
Mm. I mean, obviously athletics runs in the family. Tori, when did you make the switch to music, or was that always there alongside doing sports as well?
Yeah, it was always there. I always sang. My mom says I started humming before I even started like saying words. Um, and I listened I just have like fond memories of being in my dad's car listening to a lot of neo soul, just growing up with music around me. Um, and yeah, I just always was drawn to it. I always had this, you know, this thing of like loving dance and the arts and singing and, wanting to audition for a play. And then I had this other side to me that was like all sports and wanting to be on the court and all of those things. So I always kind of felt pulled in both of those directions, especially growing up. And then when I got to college, I realized like, okay, I have a full ride. I'm just going to roll with it because I'm getting my college paid for. And I tried to do the musical theater thing while doing volleyball, but their schedules were just as hectic as ours because they have stage hours. They want you to get involved in like all the productions, and with, up and coming writers in their program to get involved in their short films. And I just wasn't, it was hard to juggle the two. I would literally be going for like 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So when I got to college, I was like, you know what, I'm going to grind. I'm going to focus on this, um, on volleyball. And I'm glad I did that because I grew a lot as a person and I needed that time. And then as soon as I graduated, I came back home. I lived with my mom and started getting in the studio and writing music full time, which
Oh, nice.
was crazy.
Yeah. So you got a little bit of both in throughout your life, which is cool.
Yeah. Jeff,
Yeah.
yeah. Jeff, you're not a one-trick pony either. From what I understand, when you were younger, you sang in your church choir. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. Um, it was a church choir though. That was it.
Okay. All right. But
That's about it.
how important or what role did music play in your life?
I mean, everybody in my family sings, especially on my dad's brothers and sisters. They're all big church people, and they all sing all the time. My Aunt Cynthia, my cousin David Oliver. You can look him up on Facebook. He was actually on American Idol. Um, my Uncle Jimmy, my dad, they all are church people, and they all sing in the church. So, I really didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So music was kind of big on that side of the family, and I think that's where Tori gets it from,
Uh-huh.
because all of them sing and they all sing pretty well. I had other cousins too that's in the 90s, they had singing groups, you know, um, my cousin Herbert, his brother Tim, you know, I had a couple other cousins that were, on the verge of making it big in singing groups too. So back in the early 90s. So I think that's where she gets it from. That's, just the musicality and the music side of things.
Mhm.
When you were a rookie in the NFL, I've seen, the all of these, videos where rookies have got to get up in front of the team and sing their school fight song. Did you have to sing the East Carolina fight song?
Forgot what I had to do for my rookie skit thing. I forgot. It's been so long. Yeah, but I knew. Shoot, I can't remember what I did for my rookie skit thing. That's so long ago. You're talking about 92.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't even
Yeah.
remember
That
what
is
I
a long
did.
time ago.
But they were definitely I had to do something. I can't
Right.
remember what I did though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, Tori, what is one thing you know about your dad that his fans would be surprised to learn?
Oh my goodness, that they would be surprised to learn. Huh. I think my dad is a very funny and goofy person. Um, and like to the point where he said like he wishes that he could dance with me more when I was younger or go to school dances and stuff. It's like we would be in the mall and he would just grab me and start dancing and I would be so embarrassed. But he was having a good old time. He loves to joke with us and he thinks it's so funny. But I would just say yeah, he's just super goofy and loving and he always keeps us laughing. Like we're always laughing when my dad's around.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep that goofy thing going right now. Okay. We're going to play a little game of dad daughter role reversal. All right. So
Wow.
here's how it's going to start. Tori, believe it or not, you are now the quarterback for the New York Jets. All right. You're
Okay.
engineering a 75-yard scoring drive to win, believe it or not, the Super Bowl. All right, the Jets are now back in the Super Bowl, first time since 1969.
Wow,
The ball is
shocking.
on the Rams' 3-yard line with 4 seconds to play. You need to score a touchdown to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. So here's your question, Tori. It's a two-parter. Number one, who's your coach, and what play are you going to run?
Oh my gosh. Who's my coach? Is it the
Who's your
coach
coach?
that's right now?
You can choose
Oh,
anybody.
my
Okay,
coach
dead
is
or
my
alive.
dad.
Who's
My
your
coach is
dad your
my dad.
coach? Your dad is
Yes.
now the head coach of the Jets. Okay.
Yes.
So what play are you guys going to call? There you go, Jeff. Okay, here's your big chance. All right. You got to get the ring. What play are you calling to win the Super Bowl?
Me?
Yeah,
Yes.
or yeah, well, you want to confer with your coach, right? You've
Oh,
called a timeout.
okay.
You're on the sideline. You and your coach are now conferring. What play are you going to run to win the Super Bowl? Jeff, what do
Dad,
you
what
think?
play are we gonna run?
3-yard
Let's
line,
go, let's
four
let's
seconds to play.
let's go Dixie Wright.
Dixie
Dixie
right.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Go 50 mesh T.
Dixie right 50 mesh.
Yeah. Dixie Wright 50 mesh T rail.
Okay, now Jeff, I got to ask you. Okay, you got to do a little interpretation.
Yeah, please. I
Is
don't.
this a run or a pass play?
It's pass.
Pass. Okay. All right. Suppose I tell you, Jeff. Now, Tori goes back in. Okay, Tori goes back in. She comes to the line of scrimmage. She's calling the play. 11 men are in the box, but now the two safeties back out. Is she going to call an audible?
No, you should don't need
Go,
to with that
all
play.
right, going with the play. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So it's a pass. Who's the primary receiver, Jeff?
Well, it's three parts.
Okay.
It's actually you got two picks and rubs for the back
I
coming out the
love this.
backfield.
Love this.
So versus man, it's doable versus man.
I have
Okay.
no idea what this
Actually,
means.
the mesh is when the mesh is crossed, you get another pick, versus man. And if it's zone, they go back to cover two. You got the basic going across the middle, running the deep dig at 12 yards in case it's zone.
I
And then you
love
got a
this.
post over the top in case they play cover zero.
All right.
You kind
Who?
of hit each coverage. That's why it's a good play.
Okay.
All gibberish to
All
me
right.
too.
And so here's the call. Blake to Wilson. Touchdown. And the Jets win their first Super Bowl in more than 50 years.
Oh my
Great
God.
call, Jeff, and great play, Tori.
Oh my God. Good one.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna switch it up and
Love it.
go for the other side now. Jeff, you're one of two finalists on The Voice, and you
Mhm.
have to win the hearts and the votes of the coaches and the millions of viewers. Who is your coach on The Voice, and what song are you going to sing in the finale?
Mm. I would say Snoop is my coach,
Snoop
Mhm.
is the coach.
and I'm probably going to sing "Ordinary People" by John Legend.
Ooh,
Ooh.
classic.
Okay.
So
Now,
good.
now, Tori, we're going to throw a little wrinkle in here. You are the guest coaching consultant.
Yes.
Before your dad goes out on the stage, what piece of advice are you giving him?
I would just say to really dive into the lyrics and find what you connect with personally, so then that way people can feel you even more on stage.
Wow, I
Mm,
like that.
mm.
So he's telling a story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
And here comes the confetti. Jeff Blake, you have won the voice.
Yes, Winners Club.
Tori, speaking of singing, who's been the greatest influence on your singing career?
Wow. You know what? There's so many artists that I really admire, especially, in today's age. But like growing up, I listened to a lot of, Um, just Music Soul Child and Lauryn Hill. Um, just a lot of soul singers, Erica Badu and all of that really because of my dad. But right now some artists that I really really love who are doing different things and really I would say are making like groundbreaking music. There's this artist named Jordan Ward that I really love. He's really really cool. Leon Thomas just dropped an album which is dope. Um, I love Solange. Um, I used to listen to a lot of like India Ari. She's a UK artist.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I really love music, but especially music that is, I don't know, different, groundbreaking, that showcases a different sound musically, and also tonally, like vocally. I have a really different tone, and it I didn't make myself have this voice. I just have this voice naturally, but I think that's why I gravitate towards a lot of artists that don't sound like everybody else because I don't.
Mm,
Um, and I appreciate that quality about them and myself. So
yeah.
I'm curious, during your run on The Voice, did your dad ever give you suggestions of song choice, performance tips, anything?
yeah, you know what? Like I said, it was a very, very nerve-wracking to, be on that stage. I think too, a lot of people don't realize it's like we're backstage and we can hear the people going before us.
Oh
Wow.
my
So
goodness.
it's like you like hear somebody have like an amazing performance and you're like, they got no chair turns. Like it's just like kind of there's a mental thing with that too. And I learned, especially after blinds, okay, like when I'm backstage, I have my AirPods in, like I am not listening to anything. I'm dancing back there. I look absolutely ridiculous. But whatever I need to do to like stay in like that game time mode and keep myself, you know, centered as much as possible, is what was what I did. Can you go back to the question? I'm sorry. I kind of
Oh
No, no,
no,
no.
you
veered off.
answered it.
Did your dad make any recommendations for
Oh,
song choice?
For song choice.
Yeah.
Well, I will say he did make a recommendation in regards to just good advice of like, hey, pull from your performance background of sports
Hmm.
and bring that into this because this is also a competition. And he was just like, I think that will ground you more on stage as well. But when it comes to song choice, you know, I don't know if I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. So basically, with the show, they have a list of songs that are already like pre-licensed.
Oh, okay.
Um, I was lucky in that you have to choose like five songs from the list in order of how you would want to sing them, and then you could pitch five songs that aren't on the list, which is really rare to get. But I ended up getting a song that I pitched for my blind audition, um, which was incredible. On and On by Erica Badu. It's been done on the show one time. Um, but I was super excited because I was the only person from my season who got a song that they pitched. And then the next round, what was that? Our coaches chose for us. And Snoop did an incredible job. I felt like all of the songs that he chose for each pairing, they really brought out the best in our voices and also like our personalities. I felt like he did a really good job. And then for the third song, we got to choose. And actually, my boyfriend helped me choose Slow Burn by Casey Musgraves, which,
Oh, so
yeah, which
good.
I'm super excited to do.
Yeah, I actually just saw Casey in Dallas last week, and
Oh,
she's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, especially because of the song.
Her songwriting is incredible. And I really enjoyed listening to her. And um, I wanted to showcase a different side to me as an artist as well and not feel, you know, super boxed in and with just being R&B soul because I feel like I teeter in between R&B and pop and sometimes, a little indie. It just depends on like the season and what I'm feeling and what I want to write in that moment. So it
Yeah.
was cool to like end on a different note and show a different side to myself.
Tori, can you take us to the moment where blind auditions, You come out on the stage, the music is cued, you start.
Yeah.
Are you conscious? Are you while you're singing and you're performing?
Yes.
What is the anxiety like of turn the chair? Just somebody turn
Yeah.
a chair. What is
You
that
know
like?
what? Let's take it back even further.
Okay, cool.
So you're behind the doors, you're standing on an X.
Hmm.
There's a vocal coach next to you helping you breathe.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, the doors are about to open. The doors, like she leaves your side, you're standing on the X, the doors are 5 feet in front of you. They fling open. You hear the next contestant is Tori Blake.
Oh my gosh.
It's like dark in there.
Right.
You walk in, and as I'm walking in, like my heart is racing, but I have this really amazing story of I'm walking in, I'm about to walk up the stairs, and I hear this person in the audience go, "Okay, Braves, giving Alicia keys." And honestly, thank God for that person because it kind of got me out of my head a little bit, and I
Uh-huh.
started giggling. And then I got to my mark. I hear the intro to the song, the lights come up, and boom, like I'm in it. And honestly, the blind audition, it feels like you're floating. And, you know, it was just like you're up there and you're just like, oh my gosh, like the lights are up. You feel like you're alone, but you know you're not.
Hmm.
Um, and I was just like, I'm just gonna sing this song. And honestly, I was so shocked when Snoop turned around and when Gwen turned around because in the moment, I think for all of us, like you're just on autopilot. You know what I mean? Because we had practiced those songs for almost a month, honestly. Um, and now it's just kind of go time. And then when they turned around, it was exciting. Like it was like this exciting like shock moment of like these are two people that I admire, and they turned around for me. And then it's like I had a moment where I flubbed a word because I was like, oh my gosh, it's like it's happening. You know what I mean? And they don't really prepare you for that moment. Like
Hmm.
Right.
obviously sing the song, keep going. But I thought that was also like funny of like I wasn't expecting to be like startled when they turned around, but I kind of was because I was like, oh, you're there.
This
You
is
know
the
what I
real
mean?
show.
I
When
know, I know.
Yeah.
when you get the chair turn, is there not an audible, but what I will call an emotional sigh of relief?
You know what? I think it was more like not even relief, but I think it was like a gratitude. For me, I felt like it was like a gratitude. Like I felt like thankful to like be chosen. Um, and then also, yeah, with my dad being there and then bringing him up on stage, I feel like that was such a great moment to have. I haven't really spent a lot of time with my dad in adulthood. You know how it is. It's like you
Yeah,
start to have your own life, and
sure.
then like my dad is still working, and it's um and with my dad playing football as well as a kid, it's like I did gymnastics and volleyball a lot with my mom. My mom took me to a lot of my stuff.
Mm.
And so it was nice to have like this was like our time and our moment. And my dad ended up staying a couple of days after the blind auditions, stayed with me in my little apartment in LA, and we did all these fun things together. And we were literally sitting on the beach, and I was holding his hand, and I was like tearing up because I'm like, I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life. Like the show was great too, but it was also the back end of like going through this emotional roller coaster, but having the support of a parent like your dad next to you, beside you through the whole thing. And then also having like his support after, and a lot of people don't talk about how you feel after the blind. It's like your body is coming down from a month of prep
Mhm.
um to being on stage for like literally 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's the wildest thing ever. But yeah, it's like that whole week is something that I'll never forget.
Yeah. I mean, backstage, Jeff, did you feel a sigh of relief when Snoop turned around?
I have this thing in my head that where I expect things to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been that way.
Hmm.
Didn't know who, but I knew somebody was,
Yeah.
you know, and I've always had this thing in my head to will things to happen.
Mm.
You know, if you will it and you want it bad enough, it'll happen. The universe always provides. The energy that you give off will always prevail. So, um, I kind of knew it, but I'm thankful it did happen, and it's like a lot of kids, a lot of people ask me all the time, how do you feel about your kids, being successful in X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, well, I kind of expected that,
Huh.
because we built for that, we prepared for that, we executed for that to happen, and a lot of times things don't happen because somebody take the wrong road, and get off track. And that's why it didn't happen. But if you stay on the road and you stay on the right track, a lot of times it takes you right where you want to go.
Mm.
So that's always been my mentality, especially when it came to my kids, and especially when it comes to Torre. I'm always going to always be there to support her, love her, and give her the support she needs. But I'm also going to let her know that she's a Blake and we winners. You know, we don't fail. We just keep going. We're gonna never lose. We're gonna always win. We're just gonna take it. It might take us a little longer to get there, but we're gonna finish strong.
Mm.
Tori, is that the best piece of advice your dad has ever given you?
Definitely. Even just hearing it again, like he was definitely, telling me that like through the process and working on I feel like, I was very mentally like strong and then I got to college and like I just didn't have the best coaching experience
Mm.
and it kind of led me astray a little bit. So having a dad who was a coach to get me back on track, I think mentally. And like I needed to hear that today. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like nice to be able to have that reminder and like knowing that I am on the right track and that I just got to keep pushing.
Mm.
Um, and something that I even keep telling myself is like 2025, get ready. We're coming for you because this is not a game.
There
Like
you go.
we have work to do.
We're not playing. We're not
We're
playing.
not playing.
Yeah.
Well, moving forward, what would you say is your greatest hope for each other?
Hmm. I feel like my dad he's had a great career. He has a great family. He's built, you know, my parents aren't together anymore. And it's still amazing that they've created a loving, very connected family. It's like we still spend holidays together. I feel like that is telling in itself
Hmm.
of the love that we have for each other.
Progress.
And I my dad's always in grind mode. I think, I want my dad to step back at some point and take some time for himself and um, you know, I don't know, just and just reflect on all the incredible things that he's built and that he's done. Um, and understand that, that he's loved and that he's an incredible person. Um, but I think I just want him to take more time for himself because he does a lot for other people, which is also great, and I get that from him as well. But yeah, I just want him to explore the world and get to do like all the things, and hopefully I'll be able to do some of that with him.
Great.
That sounds
Jeff, what's
awesome.
your hope for Tori?
I hope she goes on along with her career, and whatever her dreams and whatever desires are, that she fulfills those where it comes to her career, her family, creating her own family, you know, um, and just knowing that she has the family support at each level, whether it be in her music or in her family life, her personal life, whatever that may be, that we're gonna support her, at all times.
Mhm.
That's great.
Awesome.
Guys, we've now come to the segment of the podcast we call Rapid Fire Roundup. Real simple. We're going to give you quick questions. They're like quick slants, Jeff. Quick questions or quick choices. We want you guys to individually just to give us your spontaneous, unfiltered response. And Tori, I've got the first one for you. Besides
Okay.
your besides your dad, your favorite NFL player.
Ricky Williams.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, Jeff, besides your daughter, who is your favorite recording
Jill
artist?
Scott.
Okay. Tori, on a hot LA summer afternoon, an iced latte or an ice cream sundae?
Ice latte.
Ooh. Jeff, on a snowy New York winter evening, a ride in a horse-drawn carriage in Central Park or cocktails at the Rainbow Room?
Cocktails at the Rainbow Room.
There you go. All
Light it
right.
up.
Tori, your favorite Broadway musical.
I just saw Wicked. It was so good, so I'm going with that.
Okay.
So good. Jeff, shotgun or under center?
Both.
Both. Okay.
All right.
I'm never going to forget Mesh, Jeff. Never. All right. Tori, would you rather sing a duet with Jennifer Hudson or Harry Styles?
Ooh, maybe I'm leaning towards Harry because I think it could be different.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Jeff, one thing you'd like to do with Tori that you haven't done yet?
Oh man. Get on stage and sing with her.
Ooh, nice duet.
Okay. Tori, what is the
She's
one
like, oh no.
Don't come.
Tori, what is the one movie that makes you laugh no matter how many times you watch it?
How many times?
Oh,
Laugh. Sorry, I'm trying to think of
Oh,
a
you're good.
movie.
You're good. This is a hard one to think of on
I
the spot.
know, on the fly. 21 Jump Street.
Oh,
okay.
great
All
one.
right.
All right, Jeff, when Broadway produces the Jeff Blake story, who plays you?
That's a good question. Oh man. Guess we bring Jamie Foxx back out.
There you go. There you go.
He's already done a football movie, so we can
Okay.
do another one.
Great
Jeff, who plays
actor.
Tori?
Ashanti.
Ooh,
Okay.
nice choice.
Tori, cooking or baking?
Cooking.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I can make a solid chicken piccata.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Okay.
And last
Yeah.
one, Jeff, one talent that you'd like to have that you don't already have.
Play an instrument. Oh my God.
Any
I always
particular
tell, I
instrument?
always tell Andrew, Torre's boyfriend, like, man, I wish I could play that guitar like you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Tori,
play an instrument.
same for you. One talent that you don't have that you'd like to have.
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe painting or like drawing. I'm not good at that at all. But I think there's something so beautiful and cool to like express yourself through like actual like like visual art.
Yeah. A different way,
Cool.
creatively.
Guys,
Yeah.
we're almost at the finish line. We're now at a segment we call cross-examination. And what that simply means is we're now going to take the two of you off the hot seat. And the cross-examination is the two of you get to ask Jill and me a question. So because it's
Hmm.
cross, Jeff, you get to ask a question of Jill. Tori, you get to ask a question of me. And you guys can decide who goes first.
We're ready.
I'll go.
Okay.
What made you want to start this podcast with your daughter?
Well, it's really not me who made her want to start it. The genesis of this was her podcasting career began in her senior year at Ithaca College a few years back. She was doing a podcast called The Bachelor Degree about the show The Bachelor. And her co host was a very good friend of hers. Well, Jill and Maddie, her friend, then graduate. Maddie gets a job as a field reporter for a TV station in Syracuse. Her time didn't allow her to continue co-hosting with Jill, so Jill had to put the podcast in mothballs. And we're sitting around the dinner table one night about 6 months later, and she was home at that point, and she said, I'd really like to continue the podcast. Would you be interested in co-hosting with me? I said,
Oh, wow.
okay, I'll give it a shot. And we did. We gave the bachelor degree one more season. And at that point, Jill said, and I was surprised. She said, my interest in the show is really waning, but I continue to like doing the podcast. I think we've got something unique in regards to the dad-daughter angle. So we decided to reposition, rebrand, rename, and here
Here
we
we
are
are.
almost 2 years later.
Yep.
Awesome.
Long
Yeah.
story short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it's my turn. So
Yep.
Jill,
Yes.
what is something that you haven't done with your dad that you would like to do?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm trying to think. I mean, I've always said skydiving. I would love to do skydiving. We actually did indoor skydiving last year, and I've always wanted to do the actual skydiving. So I don't know if you would actually do it because he's terrified of heights, but that is something I would love to do. And we
Yeah, look,
haven't been to an NFL game together, and we're gonna be going
we
to
are
one.
going. We are going to.
So
I mentioned that
Nice,
assistant
nice.
coach.
yeah.
Where yeah, we've been invited on December 22nd. We're going to see the Jets play the Rams at MetLife. We're going to be given sideline passes, parking the players' parking lot, the
So we'll
whole deal.
experience what you guys
Yeah, so we're looking
experience.
forward to that. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah,
good. It'll be
yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
So we're excited for that. Thank you for the questions. And before we officially let you go, please let our listeners know where they can find you, follow you on socials, any current or upcoming projects you've got going on.
Yeah. So they can find me at Tori Blake, TORREBLAKE on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music. I have been putting music out for the past like 7 years. And I will be putting out Slow Burn cover from my last performance on The Voice. And I've also been writing music that will be coming out in 2025. So, yes, please follow me on all the things.
Can't wait for that. How about you, Jeff?
Well, they can find me on IMG's website. You can also find me at jeffblaketraining.com, or you can find me on Twitter at J Blake underscore 8. So those
Okay.
are my
Yes.
socials. And if you're looking for QB training, hey, I'm in Florida. Just let me know.
There
All
you
right.
go. There
And
you go.
really quickly, I have to know, do you guys still root for the same NFL team? Are you guys on the same page about that?
No, we just kind of, we just enjoy the game. We're not
Yeah.
really fans of a
Yeah.
team, but we just fans of the game.
All right. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
That works.
Fair enough.
That works. Well, Tori Blake and Jeff Blake, thank you for a fun filled, considerate, and Super Bowl winning talk to go.